Well, what is happening, everybody? This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Tuesday evening, middle of January. How's everybody feeling? How are we feeling out there? I am donning my Detroit Red Wings hat tonight, not because I am suddenly a Detroit fan, but I am the unofficial train driver, conductor of the Todd McClellan fan club. And when you know it, the Red Wings getting that coaching bump, winning 7 games in a row under McClellan. I think he's 7-1, if I'm not mistaken, in his first 8 games. Sweeney, Neely, you could have hired this guy, man. You had an opportunity to go get my boy. You didn't do it. Yes, I like Joe Sacco too, but man, this was my guy. So hey, good on Detroit for winning 7 in a row. Be curious to see how much further they can take that. They've played themselves right back into that playoff picture in what is a very muddied Eastern Conference. But tonight we are going to table our NHL conversation. A whole lot of other things to talk about tonight. Everybody, going to do a real quick update, highlights to the Maine Nordiques and the UMaine men's and women's program, and we are going to then take a deep dive into the roller coaster ride that is the Maine Mariners, East Coast or ECHL, I should say, affiliate of our Boston Bruins. Interesting weekend. Weekend that saw some blood pressure spike, perhaps. A weekend that saw quite a bit of emotion, I would say, from the fan base. Yes, 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 yes. All the above. All the above. Let's start by talking about our Maine Nordiques. It's been a little bit since I've checked in on the team. They are currently sitting in second place in their Eastern Division. They are 22-7-3-3. 47 points, only 3 points behind Rochester, sitting there in first place. Listen, they had a little bit of a lull, but they have won now 4 in a row. They swept Johnstown last week. They're on the road with 1-0 and 4-1 victories over the weekend. Uh, to date, their team leaders, Laurent Trepanier, is I think how you pronounce that, has 23 goals to lead the team, 16 assists, and 39 points. Zion Green leading the team in assists, has also 9 goals there for 38 points. Ethan Wongus up there as well, 39 points for him, 13 goals, 26 assists for himself. In net, Carter Richardson, 16 wins. He has a 2.21 goals against average and a 925 save percentage with 3 shutouts. So having an excellent year for him. Fun team. Um, Fun to watch, fun team to cheer for. They do have 4 home games coming right up here this weekend, 2 against Rochester. So right there, they got an opportunity to go get that division lead back, but they'll be up there at the Coliseum Lewiston on the 16th, 7 p.m. and on the 17th, a 7:30 puck drop. So go check them out. Heading up the road to Orono, what is going on with our UMaine men? Keeping the winning alive, baby. They are playing some really, really good hockey. 15-4-2 overall and 9-1-1 in the very top, very deep Hockey East Conference. Looking at the pairwise rankings right now, they are number 3 nationally, just behind Michigan State and Boston College. And for those of you who are maybe don't follow college hockey, there's all sorts of different, national rankings out there. The pairwise ranking is really the one that those decision makers who are, placing teams into the national tournament, that's the ranking that they really follow. And that's one I really kind of keep a good eye on. So right now, number 3 in pairwise, very, very good. Of course, last weekend down there in Lowell, picking up 2 big wins against, I think Lowell was ranked number 8 last week, if I'm not mistaken. 3-1 and 2-1 over the weekend. Awesome efforts by the club. I'm curious, any Maine fans down there, in Lowell over the weekend. If you were, I'd be really curious to know what that atmosphere was like. Leave some comments down below. Would love to hear from you guys. We know that the excuse me the atmosphere at the Alphon is just so electric and I think fairly unique. Curious what it was like down there in Lowell. So if you were down there, please leave comments down below. Would love to hear from you. Team leaders here for the Black Bears, Harrison Scott, 15 goals, 12 assists for 27 points, leads the way. Charlie Russell, 18 points for him, 4 goals and 14 assists. And Taylor McCarr, uh, 6 goals, 10 assists for 16 points. So having a good year for himself. Albin Boyja, 14, 4, and 2 on the year there in net, has 3 shutouts for himself, a 1.55 goals against average. Let me repeat that 1.55 goals against. Playing in Hockey East. Pretty impressive. 931 save percentage. He is currently ranked number 2 in the country in that goals against average, just behind Alex Tracy of Minnesota State, who has a 1.44. So having a great year for himself as well. But Boysia having just a heck of a year. Um, yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. If you are looking to check out a game, they do have a couple coming up here over the weekend on the 17th. I believe that is Friday. Let me just check myself. That is Friday, 7 p.m. up at the Alphon against number 17 Yukon, followed up with a Saturday game again at 7 p.m. against Yukon. So a couple of real good ones there. Another nationally ranked program, but 2 games that, again, being at home, Maine should be effective. They should be able to win those games, but you take nothing for granted, right? Um, Maine has become one of those programs that some of these other colleges they circle on their calendar. So you oftentimes get the best out of teams like a Yukon, coming in. So should be a lot of fun hockey there for the boys. For the UMaine women, yeah, been a tough season. There's no way to kind of sugarcoat that. 16, 7, and 0 for the girls, 5 and 11 in Hockey East. They did win their last one down at Harvard, 3-2 victors there. And where the men would be playing Yukon up at the Alphon, the Lady Black Bears will be down in stores over the weekend, playing number 15 Yukon. So the Yukon ladies ranked number 15 in the country. Friday night at 6 p.m. and Saturday 4 p.m. matinee down there. Team leaders here for the Lady Black Bears, Lily Fetch, 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points. Alyssa Rubble, 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. And Adriana Van der Leest, I guess I pronounced it. Apologize if I mispronounced that. 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. So, yep, yeah, rough season for the Lady Black Bears, but this is a younger roster when you actually break down their roster. They only have, I think, 5 or 6 seniors on the team. Lots of freshmen, lots of sophomore players. So you're just hoping that this is a team and the coaching staff can use this as a building block year, getting that experience with eyes to 25 and 26. So see how they can finish out their season. So let's turn the page to the Maine Mariners. Truth be told, I didn't watch the Saturday night game live. I did have my son here, and as I've said in the past, when the 4-year-old is here, not a whole lot of other things get done outside of playing with him, which is just fine by me. But there's something funny that happened Saturday night. Never had this happen before, never seen it before, but I looked out on my phone and my Facebook icon on my phone, it turned red. It's your Facebook's always blue and white, and my icon was red. I thought it was a little bit odd. So a little bit of smoke was coming out of my phone. So I thought, well, I'll go check Facebook, see what's happening. Oh, baby. Oh, man. Were you Mariner fans mad? Oh, it was hot. Saturday night checking social media on Maine Mariner pages. It was livid. And right, listen, rightfully so, right? I don't blame anybody, but it was palpable, man. The anger, the opinions, it was flying Saturday night. And I understand it. They got smoked Saturday night. That was a hard watch, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I didn't really feel like I had to watch, much of that game Saturday night. I did go back and watch most of it, on replay on Flow Hockey. But man, it was just I've never seen you guys react quite with that quite amount of anger, I guess. Um, but I think it does speak to the fact that we have seen this roller coaster all year, and this 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and we'll talk about that Saturday night game here in a little bit. But yeah, Facebook was it was on. it was on fire Saturday night. Before we get into looking at the games, do you want to congratulate Mike O'Keeley getting his 400th call there on Sunday? So big congrats to Mike. We all love him. He does a great job. One of the hardest working guys in minor league hockey, and here's to another 400, or maybe a promotion up to the A or up to the NHL at some point. That would be great to see. We'd love to see that for him. But good job, Mike, and so that was just a great accomplishment. So let's turn real quick, just a real quick review in terms of the box score there from Saturday night. Obviously, a 10-3 Norfolk victory. Shots on goal on this one, 42-28 in favor of Norfolk. First period, 12-9 Norfolk, 19-9 in the second period, and 11-10 Norfolk outshooting Maine in all three of those periods. Power play. This was a big story in this one. 3 for 8. Norfolk getting 8 power plays, scoring 3 times. Maine 1 for 4. Goal scores here for Maine. McCallum getting his 11th goal, actually kicked off the scoring in this one, believe it or not. Being adding his 4th of the year. And then we got to go down to McCallum again in that second period, getting his 12th of the season for your 3 goals there for Maine. Nolan Meyer, yes, played the whole game. 32 saves on 42 shots. So there goes your save percentage if you're Nolan Meyer. Yeah, tough one. Just again, we'll talk a little bit more about this one here, but a game where you were kind of in it for, I'd say, roughly half the game, and yeah, just fell apart in the last 30 minutes or so of that game. So Saturday night, you take that loss. Let's turn to Sunday afternoon. A little bit better result here for the boys, winning this one 5-3. Very different game stylistically, I would say. Shots on goal on this one, 36-24 in favor of Maine. First period, Maine outshooting Norfolk 10-4, then 13-6 in that second period. Norfolk with 14 shots versus 13 for Maine in the third. Power play box, or the penalty boxes, were a little less busy in this one. Norfolk 0 for 1 and Maine 0 for 4 on the power play. Power play kind of struggled this weekend for our Mariners. Big story in this one, though. Jimmy Lambert gets his first of 3 there in that first period. Phillip adds one there in the second period. Juan Peterson with his 5th. Lambert then with his 10th goal in that second period. And then he finishes it off with an empty netter there to close it out. Bischel with the win in this one, 21 saves on 24 shots for himself, and gets the victory there and makes it a split weekend for the boys. So looking at kind of players of the weekend, of course, Jimmy Lambert with that hat trick on Sunday. Also adds 2 assists on the weekend, so 3, 2, and 5 line for him. Justin Bean with a good weekend for himself. 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. McCallum continuing what he started here, just still in his first few games with the team, but 2 goals over the weekend for 2 points. And Brooklyn Kalmakoff adding 2 assists for himself. Specialty teams definitely took a hit over the weekend. They went down in their power play percentage, down to 15.8. They were at 16% a week ago, so a little bit of a drop off there. And the PK at 77.8. You were so close to 80% after last weekend's games. But yeah, after a 1 freight on the power play and only killing 6 out of 9 over the weekend on the PK, your numbers are going to take a hit. So let's take a deeper dive into what we saw Saturday. Clearly, that's where a lot of the emotion was here for the fans. But 10 goals allowed, 8 penalties taken. It's just unacceptable at any level of hockey. It just is. But the weird thing about this Saturday game is that Maine actually dominates the first few minutes of that first period. That puck was in that Maine O zone, I'd say, for the first 2.5, 3 minutes of the game. And I think Maine got the first 6 shots of the game. Like, I think it was like 6 or 7 shots in the first 2 minutes. So they came out kind of on fire, and you're feeling pretty good, right? Not long after that, Lambert gets a great look right around that 5-minute mark. I think it hit some post right there. So they were just cooking right out of the gate. Um, then they do kill off a delay of game penalty, which leads to Maine scoring that first goal, McCallum's goal, out in front off a nice pass from Johnson from behind the net. So, here you are, you're about 10 minutes into this game. And if you're a Mariners fan, you're feeling great, right? Good energy, good puck possession, defensive details looking good. But then, less than 30 seconds later, Norfolk gets what I would call kind of a clunky goal. Meyer gets the initial stop on that shot, but the team can't clean it up in front of him, and it goes in. Making it a 1-1 game there. Then that second goal, kind of later on for Norfolk in that first period, it starts with a neutral zone giveaway by Maine. And the Mariners defensively seem to kind of get caught running around a little bit. Then it's, I think it was Zlati, it's how you pronounce his name, or Zlatai. I apologize, I can't remember how to pronounce that one, but he receives a pass, out near the left dot. He's all alone. There's no Mariner within 5 or 6 feet of him. Nobody picks him up. So, after, what felt like a real solid start to the game, you go into the dressing room after the first period down 2-1. Still okay. You're just down a goal, still fine. You feel like you had some good energy early. You played well. You got a little sloppy on a couple things late, but hey, 2-1 after one against a good offensive team, you're feeling okay. Um, you come out of that second period, you tied up fairly quickly into that second period on a 4-on-4. So again, you start that second period off, you're tied 2-2, you're right back in the game. But it was really after we tied it up there. Norfolk starts to control the puck more, and Maine starts to play more in their D zone, probably a bit too much if I was to be honest. Uh, and they give up that long lead pass by Golder. Golder was all over the ice on this one. Led to that third goal, and then of course, 15 seconds after it's 3-2, Norfolk scores off a face-off draw. Just a tough 15 seconds. You go from 2-2 to 4-2, just like that. So, again, you're starting to feel like, oh, it's starting to slip away. But geez, a couple minutes later, McCallum gets his second of the night. Power play goal of all things. We get a power play goal. Um, he's able to, tip the puck in on the right side of the goalie after the shot from Thompson from the left side up near the blue line. So, good kind of dirty goal for the team. And once again, you're roughly halfway through this game, and the Mariners, you're gaining some momentum back. You're just one shot away in a game that's felt like it was starting to get away from you at that point, but you're right back in it, right? You pull it right back in, you get some momentum, and you're ready to go. But it was after this that really things start to fall apart there on Saturday night. Penalties start to pour in, right? First one, that Johnson trip, and an immediate goal, seconds after that, Golder scores that. So, whatever momentum you gain off McCallum's second goal, just at that point, just seemed to dissipate, just seemed to disappear completely. You're now down by two again. That second period, Maine took five penalties that led to three power play goals. I mean, I'm a Boston Bruins fan. I'd like to get three power play goals in a month. Here's Norfolk getting three in a period. That's selfish, very selfish of them. Um, and one of these, of course, was on a 5-on-3 situation. So you just put yourself in a really, really bad spot. You also look at that second period, and, Mariners give up three goals within the last 5 minutes of a period, too. So you're not closing things out right, at all. Things just really got away from you. I know there was some questions on that one delay of game call that I know the main bench was pretty hot about, but there's just no excuses for the sloppiness and the lack of discipline we saw in this one. For a game where you control play early, where 30 minutes in, you're just a shot away. It's just a disappointing way to close out that period. Defensively, the team, just appeared to be running around too much, got lost in some of their coverages. It's just overall just a mess of a period. And truth be told, it really kind of led to a lifeless third period. I'll stop right there and say I saw a lot of people on social media saying I've never left a Mariners game early, but walking out here at the end of two, listen, it's your right to do that. I get it. It's tough. It was a tough watch. Um, the Mariners decide to keep Meyer, um, out there for that third period, kind of as that sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Oftentimes, regardless if it's, a goalie having a bad night or just poor play out in front of him, games like this, you'll see a goalie change in that spot. And I would have expected that coming out for the third period, but it just doesn't happen. Obviously, we know Bishop was lined up to play Sunday. Was that why it wasn't changed? Why that wasn't why that change wasn't made? Was it a game was just so far out of hand anyway? You just ride it out. Letting only get some more game reps. Yeah, I'm not sure, but truth be told, I was a little bit surprised. Looking back, that a change wasn't made there after two. But just rough game all around. Yeah, again, as I said, you can't give up 10 goals. You can't take 8 penalties. It's just rough. And I did say on my Wednesday video in previewing Norfolk that they had come off a 9 goal effort against Worcester. So, 9 goals, then 10 goals. They've just been a little bit of a house offensively. So, you just hope that you wouldn't see it up here in Portland. But moving on to Sunday's game, listen, we can criticize the boys. We got to give them credit as well for a nice bounce back. Take the 2 points, but man, 3.5 minutes in on Sunday, and the Mariners give up another breakaway chance that ends up in the back of your net. Yeah, these are some of the defensive problems that plagued the team early on in the season, right? Breakaways and on-man rushes, and you come off a 10 goal disappointing, defensive effort the night before, and 3.5 minutes in, you give that one up. It's like you just start to roll your eyes, like, oh boy, are we doing this again? Is this happening again? But great response. The team does answer back. They tie the game in that first period. They absolutely dominate the second period with those 3 goals, and only took 1 penalty throughout the game. So much better discipline, much better effort, better stick control, better emotional control, I'd say, in this one. So that's all great to see. Of course, they did make it interesting, right? Norfolk's Montgomery gets one of those goals back early in the third period. Maine lost coverage on him. He was just left alone out in front. Again, starting to see, even though we win this one, we're starting to see some of this stuff, some of this lost coverage, some of this gap coverage that we were seeing earlier started to creep back in this weekend. So listen, you're still 4-2 at that point, but then it's Biddeford, Maine's native Brady Florent hanging out in between 3 Mariner players, finds a loose puck after a shot on net, hammers it in, making it 4-3. So yeah, blood pressure spiking for sure, but despite Norfolk creeping back into this one, Maine does hold on Jimmy Lambert, of course, getting the empty netter to secure the win and a hat trick on the day. First hat trick for the Maine Mariners this season. So listen, another split on a weekend for the boys. It does keep them in the mix. It doesn't really help elevate them up the standings, right? I would say after that Saturday game, we're probably very happy to get those 2 points on Sunday. So where does that leave the boys at this point? Currently sitting sixth place in the North, 13, 16, and 3, 29 points. 4 points behind fourth place Worcester. And still actually 4 games in hand on both Worcester and Reading, the 2 teams directly in front of you. So we're very close to the halfway point in the season. And given what we've seen so far, I think my opinion would just be it just doesn't feel like the Mariners are in a playoff race, just the way they're playing. But then again, you look at the standings, and despite this up and down roller coaster like play we've seen, and you're still just at the halfway point, you're only 4 points out. You're only 4 points, just 2 games out. So, I guess I would just ask you guys as fans, like, is there reason for optimism here? You've played kind of this up and down style, sometimes looking quite good and competitive, other times looking like you did on Saturday. Are you optimistic about the second half of the season? Do they have another gear they can turn on here in the second half? Or is it just simply this team is exactly what we've seen to this point, which is what I would call a hardworking team that can be competitive, however, struggles with consistency and defensive discipline? Please leave those comments down below. Again, would love to hear from you guys on what you think about what we're going to see here in the second half. Or do we stay in this playoff race? Can we move up the standings, or is it just going to be more of the same? Would love to hear from you guys. From a transactions and injury perspective, not a whole lot to talk about. Of course, we know Evan Beerling did not play over the weekend. I put a couple feelers out to see if he was on the road trip. I imagine he's probably traveling with the team. I don't know that, but I know there was some talk that he was close to playing last weekend. So hopefully we'll see him on this West Coast or Midwest trip that the team is on. But really, no new transactions to speak of at this point. Upcoming schedule, we do have some out of conference games coming up here starting tomorrow night at Indy. 7 p.m. puck drop out there in Indiana with Indy. Chicago's ECHL affiliate. To date, Indy is 14, 15, 2 and 2, 32 points for them. They sit fifth in the Central Division. Over their past 10 guys at 3, 6, 0 and 1. They have actually lost 3 in a row. So they're coming in probably feeling a little salty themselves. Power play for them 18.4% and their PK at 88.8%. So pretty darn good PK team here. Not a ton of scoring depth though on this team. They average 2.09 goals for, and they only give up 2.27 against per game. So definitely a team that relies heavily on their goaltending, heavily on defense, not an offensive juggernaut. Key players for Indy, you have Cam Hosinger, 12 goals, 8 assists for 20 points. Colin Bielek, 10 goals, 8 assists for 18 points. Kevin Lombardi, 8 goals, 9 assists for 17 points. And then in net, Ben Gaudreau has 8 wins on the season, a 2.17 goals against average, and a 914 save percentage. Also, a little note here, old friend Bennett Stockdale has joined up with Indy. He's got 12 games played for them, so be curious to see if we see him on the ice tomorrow night. Moving on to Friday, the team moves out to Cincinnati. 7:35 drop there on Friday night. Of course, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs ECHL affiliate, so we always love to beat on the Maple Leafs, so let's go get that one, boys. For Cincy, they're 11, 24 and 0, 26 points, sitting behind Indy in that Central Division in 6th place, 6 and 4 over their past 10, and just lost their last game in terms of any sort of streaks goes. They're on a 1-game losing streak. Power play for them 17.1%, PK 77.7, so a little weaker than that Indy team we'll see on Wednesday. Goals for per game 2.31. They do give up 3.2 per game. And they do have for key players a Walpole mass kid here. Lincoln Griffin leads the team, 10 goals, 22 points, 12 assists in there. So 10, 12 for 22. Chaz Sharp, 11 goals, 10 assists for 21 points. And Dante Sheriff, 5 goals, 14 assists for 19 points. I just love that name, Dante Sheriff. Sounds like a hockey guy, right? I love it. That does appear to be a split between Pavel Kajin, and I apologize for mispronouncing some of these names. 5 wins, though, for him. It might be Kajin. 5 wins, 2.3 goals against average, and a 909 save percentage. I'm going to trip over this one. Vyacheslav Peksa. Ooh, tough one. This is where I give Keeley a lot of credit. He nails these. I don't know how he does it, man. That's the difference between him being a professional and me just being a dude with a microphone. But Peksa has 3 wins, 3.2 goals against average, and an 875 save percentage. And a familiar name here, John Gillies, Concord, New Hampshire native, former Maine Mariner as well, is on this club. 3 wins, 4.3 goals against average, and 855 save percentage. Played 1 game for the Mariners back in 21-22, but actually has 36 games of NHL experience between Calgary, St. Louis, New Jersey, and Columbus. So looks like he is definitely the third guy there. Curious what his story is after getting a little taste of the NHL. Seems like he's trying to hold on to tail end of his career. Team moves out on Saturday to Fort Wayne. 7:35 puck drop there with the Edmonton ECHL affiliate. Fort Wayne is 21, 12 and 1 on the season with 43 points. 3rd in the Central Division. 6 and 4 over their past 10 on a little bit of a winning streak, winning 3 games in a row. Power play here 19.7% and 83.8 on the PK, so a fairly decent special teams team here. They do score 3.21 goals per game and give up 2.82 per game. So definitely will be the toughest of the 3 teams we'll be seeing out here over the weekend. Key players for Fort Wayne, Jack Dugan with 11 goals, 23 assists for 34 points. Odine Tufto, 10 goals, 21 assists for 31 points. Kyle Mayhew, 5 goals, 26 assists, 31 points there from the blue line. And Alex Alirdi, 11 goals, 15 assists for 26 points. Net seems pretty split up here as well. Brent Brochu with 10 wins, 2.45 goals against, and a 921 save percentage. Connor Ungar, 11 wins, 2.92, and an 898 save percentage. Not sure who we'll see there on Saturday, but a couple of, looks like a couple good net minders for them. Winnable games on the road, I would say so. I would say, especially those first two, quite winnable. Listen, get 4 out of 6 points on this trip. Let's start to get back to those defensive details that, we saw kind of improved before last weekend. Yes, listen, you're only 4 points out of that fourth place position. Yes, it's still over half the schedule to go. But at some point, man, sometime soon, you've got to go on a run. We have to see this team start to bank some points in a row. Give us a like a 5-1-1 type of stretch or something like that. This 2 steps forward, 3 steps back flow of the season, just not going to get the Mariners where we want to be, which is into that second season, into the spring. We do have at the NHL level tonight the Tampa Bay Lightning coming into Boston. 7 p.m. puck drop from the Garden. So any listeners going down to that game, have fun, enjoy it. It does feel kind of like a must-win divisional game for the Bees. Coming off a big win down at Florida, getting this win here would really feel good for the boys. This Eastern Conference is just so tight, so muddy right now, and tonight represents, of course, a big 4-point swing in that Atlantic Division. There'll be a lot of other teams watching this one. Some bad news though for tonight. Charlie McAvoy was placed on the IR, as was Mark Kastelik. Hampus Lindholm also placed on long-term IR. But all players skated on their own today. No setbacks for Lindholm, according to Coach Sacco. So that's good news. And the McAvoy injury, just something he's been dealing with, looks more like a day-to-day type of nagging injury there. So won't play tonight. It's too bad. It's a tough one to miss your best D-man, but next man up. Matty Patra has been called up, though, from Providence, along with Michael Callahan. Mark McLaughlin sent back to Providence, and Vinny Lettieri called up as well. So should be an interesting lineup tonight for the boys. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. I do appreciate it. Enjoy all the hockey tonight and this weekend. I'm flying out to Chicago tomorrow for some work stuff, so I won't be back with you guys probably until Sunday, Monday of next week. So go ahead and enjoy it. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.